The preposition sampai, until, has a bunch of interesting uses. Here's an inventory. Literal meanings: until, example 1, sampai jumpa, see you later. Up to, example 2, Komodo yang lapar memanjakan mata anjing itu dari moncong sampai ekor. The hungry Komodo dragon feasted its eyes on the dog from nose to tail. To arrive, reach. Sampai tiba, take the preposition di. Example 3a, saya sampai di, or tiba di Pulau Komodo. I arrived at Komodo Island. Whereas datang takes ke. 3b, saya mau datang ke pesta ulang tahun. I want to come to the birthday party. Figurative meanings. Sampai connotes an excessive extent. It could sometimes be omitted without significantly changing the meaning, such as in the patterns sampai se plus adjective, bagaimana sampai, and jangan sampai. Sampai can replace the preposition sehingga in patterns that mean so, adjective, that. Example 4a, Komodo itu begitu lapar sampai makan bukan hanya wisatawan itu, tapi juga anjingnya. The Komodo dragon was so hungry that it not only ate the tourist, but also their dog. Similarly, the patterns terlalu, adjective, sampai, and reptile brain terver, sampai, express so excessive that. Example 4a, Komodo itu terlalu lapar sampai makan bukan hanya wisatawan itu, tapi juga anjingnya. The Komodo dragon was so hungry that it not only ate the tourist, but also their dog. Example 4b, wisatawan itu terpesona indahnya Komodo itu sampai mencoba membelainya. The tourist was so enchanted by the Komodo dragon's beauty that they tried to pet it. Sampai expresses even. Example 5, sampai anjing wisatawan dimakan Komodo itu. Even the tourist's dog was eaten by the Komodo dragon. Sampai sometimes shows up in front of se, adjective, mungkin, in similar patterns that express as adjective as possible. Example 6, algojo menyayunkan kapag sekuat mungkin. Can be reworked as algojo menyayunkan kapag sampai sekuat mungkin. The executioner swung the axe as hard as possible. Bagaimana sampai bisa expresses how could it happen that. Example 7, pemandu wisata itu sama sekali tidak tahu bagaimana sampai wisatawan itu bisa dimakan oleh Komodo. The tour guide had no idea how the tourist could have been eaten by the Komodo dragon. Subjunctive-like meanings. Sampai also connotes an irreal extent. Jangan sampai can replace jangan, or jangan biarkan. 8a, jangan sentuh Komodo. Jangan sampai sentuh Komodo both mean don't touch the Komodo dragon. 8b, jangan biarkan Komodo larikan diri. Don't let the Komodo dragon escape can be alternatively expressed as jangan sampai Komodo larikan diri. Jangan sampai is also synonymous with supaya jangan, lest. See, tutup pintu dengan rapat. Jangan sampai ada Komodo yang masuk. Tutup pintu dengan rapat supaya jangan ada Komodo yang masuk. Close the door tightly so that no Komodo dragons can get in. Sampai hati expresses to dare or to have the heart to do something. Example 9, wisatawan lain tidak sampai hati melihatnya. The other tourists did not have the heart to watch. Kalau sampai expresses if it were, often in negative contexts. Jika Komodo sampai makan salah satu dari grup wisata, pasti orang yang menggunakan wheelchair. If the Komodo dragon were to eat someone in the tour group, it would definitely be the guy in the wheelchair. Here's an inventory for if expressions. If is jika or kalau. 1a, jika dikejar oleh komodo muda, jangan panjat pohon. If you're being chased by a young Komodo dragon, do not climb a tree. In past contexts, these words simply mean when. Example 1b, jika muda, Komodo itu pandai memanjat pohon. When young, that Komodo dragon was good at climbing trees. If then, jika maka, or kalau maka. Example 2a, jika Komodo muda mengejar kamu, maka jangan panjat pohon. If a young Komodo dragon chases you, then do not climb a tree. The jika maka pattern is not common. Maka usually shows up instead in contexts where it's interchangeable with jadi, therefore, or so. Example 2b, saya dikejar oleh Komodo muda, maka melompat ke sungai. I was being chased by a young Komodo dragon, so I jumped into the river. UKBI is the main Indonesian proficiency test. From the limited number of previous tests that are available online, it appears that the test writers have a thing for questions that relate to the jika maka pattern. The rule that they apply appears to be that jika maka can only be used if there are two subjects, as in example 2a. I'm skeptical about this because counterexamples seem to abound in real life. If not or otherwise, jika tidak, kalau tidak. Example 3, saya mau melihat banyak komodo. Jika tidak, saya akan kecewa. I want to see a lot of Komodo dragons, otherwise I will be disappointed. Provided that, asalkan, asal. Example 4a, saya akan pergi ke Indonesia, asalkan juga bisa mengunjungi Pulau Komodo. I will go to Indonesia, provided that I can also go to Komodo Island. Only then. Saya mau mengambil foto selfie dengan Komodo, baru saya akan bergabung kembali grup wisata. I want to take a selfie with the Komodo dragon. Only then will I rejoin the tour group. If in real contexts. Jika kalau usually works perfectly okay for all conditional contexts, ceteris paribus. However, here are some specialized terms that are commonly used instead of jika kalau for irreal contexts, such as subjunctives, counterfactuals, and hypotheticals. If I were, jika sampai, kalau sampai. Example 5a, kalau sampai saya kaya. If I were rich, saya membeli seekor komodo. I would buy a Komodo dragon. This is used for subjunctive-like contexts that involve significant change, as in, if I were rich. If only I hadn't, jika saja, kalau saja. Example 5b, kalau saja tidak menyanyiakan kesempatan, saya bisa menjadi juara. If only I hadn't squandered the opportunity, I could have been a contender. This is used for counterfactuals. Supposing, seandainya, or seandai kata, sekiranya, and so on. Example 8, seandainya Anda dikejar oleh Komodo, apa yang akan Anda lakukan? If you were chased by a Komodo dragon, then what would you do? Seandainya is used for counterfactuals or hypotheticals. Miscellaneous expressions. Even if, bahkan jika, bahkan kalau. Example 6, Bahkan jika kamu berhasil memanjat pohon, kamu tetap akan tamat. Even if you managed to climb a tree, you would still be a goner. As if, seolah and seakan-akan. Example 7, Komodo itu berpura-pura mengabaikan saya seolah-olah saya tidak ada di sana. The Komodo dragon pretended to ignore me as if I wasn't there. These specialized words can be replaced with the more general seperti, like. These specialized words are used when the action in the main clause is performed as if the seolah-olah clause were true, as if. How about bagaimana jika, bagaimana kalau? Example 8, wisatawan itu berkata, bagaimana jika kita berkemah semalam di hutan? The tourist said, how about we camp overnight in the jungle? Used for proposals or invitations. Here's an inventory for and or but. And, that's dan. 1a, Komodo itu menangkap dan memakan wisatawan. That Komodo dragon caught and ate a tourist. You can also use serta, selain, di samping. Dan is generally applicable and can, for example, link sentences, nouns, adjectives. Serta, along with, is less common and mostly shows up to stress togetherness. Komodo itu memakan wisatawan serta anjingnya. That Komodo dragon ate a tourist along with their dog. And expressions. Both X and Y. Baik X maupun Y. 1C. Baik wisatawan itu maupun anjingnya dimakan oleh Komodo. Both the tourist and their dog were eaten by Komodo dragons. Not only X, but also bukan hanya X, tetapi juga Y. Example 1D, bukan hanya wisatawan itu, tetapi anjingnya juga dimakan oleh Komodo. Not only the tourist, but also their dog were eaten by Komodo dragons. Selain juga also means not only X, but also Y. Example 1E, selain Komodo ada juga biawak. In addition to Komodo dragons, there are also biawaks. Or expressions. Atau. Atau is generally applicable and can, for example, link sentences, nouns, adjectives. 2A, haruskah saya memanjat pohon atau melompat ke sungai? Should I climb a tree or jump into the river? Indonesian is not as punctilious as English about using or instead of and in negative contexts. Example 2B, it's perfectly okay to say, kamu tidak boleh memanjat pohon atau melompat ke sungai, or dan melompat ke sungai. Either X or Y. Baik X atau Y, or entah X atau Y. Example 2C, baik wisatawan itu atau anjingnya akan dimakan oleh Komodo. Either the tourist or their dog will be eaten by Komodo dragons. Neither X nor Y. Bukan X maupun Y. Tidak X atau Y. Example 2D, bukan wisatawan itu maupun anjingnya dimakan oleh Komodo. Neither the tourist nor their dog were eaten by Komodo dragons. But expressions. But is tapi, 3A. Saya pergi ke Pulau Komodo, tetapi tidak melihat satupun serangan Komodo. I went to Komodo Island, but did not see a single Komodo dragon attack. Tapi, tetapi, akan tetapi can be used at the beginning or in the middle of sentences. However, namun. Namun is generally interchangeable with tapi, but it's often used as however to stress a contrasting idea. Example 3B, wisatawan itu yakin bisa lolos. Namun, ternyata dia salah. The tourist thought he can escape, but it turned out he was wrong. Here's an inventory for although and regardless. Although expressions. although as meskipun, or walaupun, or tetapi, or namun, or to, or sedangkan. Example 1a, wisatawan itu dimakan oleh komodo, meskipun dia berhasil memanjat pohon. The tourist was eaten by dragons even though he managed to climb a tree. These words can go at the beginning of the first clause or the second clause. If at the beginning of the first clause, then the second clause often includes masih, masih saja, tetap, to express nevertheless. Example 1b, meskipun wisatawan itu berhasil memanjat pohon, dia tetap tamat. Although the tourist managed to climb a tree, he was still a goner. Although can also be expressed with duplicated adjectives. Example 1c, kecil-kecil, komodo itu sudah memakan beberapa wisatawan. Although young, that Komodo dragon has already eaten several tourists. Whereas in fact, padahal. Padahal, whereas, is used as whereas in fact in subordinate clauses to rectify a fallacy in the main clause. Example 1d, pemandu wisata pura-pura tidak takut. Padahal dia tahu salah satu wisatawan sudah dimakan oleh komodo. The tourist guide pretended not to be afraid, even though he knew that one of the tourists had already been eaten by Komodo dragons. Regardless. So regardless of adjective. Bagaimana pun adjective plus nya, or betapa pun adjective plus nya. Example 2a. Bagaimana pun kecilnya, namun Komodo sangat berbahaya. Example. Also, sekecil apapun, Komodo sangat berbahaya. No matter how small, Komodo dragons are very dangerous. If the bagaimana clause is at the beginning of the first clause, then the second clause often includes namun or to express nevertheless. Regardless can also be expressed as se plus adjective plus apapun, as in example 2a. Regardless of noun, tor lepas dari, bahkan jika kalaupun meskipun, or other although words. Example 2b, tor lepas dari adanya komodo, aku dan anjingku akan berkemah semalam di hutan. Regardless of the presence of Komodo dragons, we want to camp overnight in the jungle. Or apapun plus noun. Example 2c, apapun alasannya, jangan pergi ke hutan pada malam hari. No matter the reason, do not go into the jungle at night. Regardless of question word, regardless of how, regardless of when. Derivatives of question words, such as bagaimana pun, entah bagaimana. Example 2d, kapan saja, Komodo mengintai di sekitar. No matter when, there are always Komodo dragons lurking nearby. Regardless of with embedded question. The embedded question can be left as is or preceded by tor, lepas, dari, and so on. Example 2e, tidak peduli berapa banyak komodo, aku dan anjingku mau berkemah semalam hutan. Regardless of how many Komodo dragons there are, we want to camp overnight in the jungle. Regardless of whether or not, entah x atau tidak. Bukan replaces tidak as required by the context. Example 3a, entah siang hari atau bukan, kita tidak akan pernah keluar dari tenda ini. Whether it's daytime or not, we will never leave this tent. Entah x atau can be replaced with entah x entah, ada x atau, baik x atau. Regardless of whether x or y, entah x atau x. Example 3b, entah siang atau malam, kita tidak akan pernah keluar dari tenda ini. Whether it's daytime or evening, we will never leave this tent. Enta, who knows, has two other common uses. I don't know. Example 4a. Enta, apa yang terjadi pada wisatawan itu dan anjingnya. I don't know what happened to the tourist and their dog. Enta plus question word expresses, for example, who knows when, sometime, who knows where, somewhere. 4b. Mereka berkemah semalam di hutan entah kenapa dan tidak pernah terlihat lagi. They camped in the jungle for some reason and were never seen again. Here's an inventory for instead. Not X, but Y. Bukan X, tetapi Y. Tetapi can be replaced with melainkan or namun. Example 1. Hal yang menakutkan itu bukan komodo itu, tetapi apa yang akan dilakukannya pada. The scary thing is not the komodo, but what it's going to do to my dick. In lieu of alih-alih daripada bukannya. Example 2a. Alih-alih pergi ke Pulau Komodo, seharusnya saya tinggal di rumah. Instead of going to Komodo Island, I should have stayed at home. To be, seharusnya saya pergi mengamati burung alih-alih Komodo. I should have gone bird watching instead of Komodo dragons. On the contrary, or in fact, sebaliknya. Example 3a. Konon Komodo adalah herbivora. Sebaliknya, Komodo adalah carnivora. It's said that Komodo dragons are herbivores. In fact, they're carnivores. After a negative sentence, sebaliknya can be replaced with mala, malahan, or bahkan. Example 3b. Konon Komodo tidak berbahaya, malah Komodo sangat berbahaya. It's said that Komodo dragons are harmless. In fact, they're very dangerous. Mala, malahan, bahkan mean moreover after a positive sentence. 3c. Komodo adalah carnivora. Mereka malah sangat ganas. Komodo dragons are carnivores. Moreover, they're very vicious. Whereas in fact, padahal. Padahal means whereas in fact, in subordinate clauses to rectify a fallacy in the main clause. Pemandu wisata berpura-pura tidak takut, padahal dia tahu salah satu wisatawan sudah dimakan oleh komodo. The tourist guide pretended not to be afraid, even though he knew that one of the tourists had already been eaten by a Komodo dragon. Here's an inventory for only. Hanya, or cuma, cuman, semata-mata, melulu, doang. Example 1. Wisatawan itu hanya berhenti sejenak untuk melihat-lihat anak komodo. The tourist only stopped for a moment to take a look at the baby Komodo dragons. These words usually go right before the predicate. Just, hanya, saja, or saja, aja informal, balaka. Example 2a. Induk Komodo itu hanya ingin melindungi anak-anaknya saja. The mother Komodo dragon just wanted to protect its babies. Saja, balaka are different from hanya because they imply exclusivity, as in just this and nothing else. Saja can go before the predicate or after a direct object. By contrast, saja can also be added to a question word to express an expectation that the question has more than one answer. Example 2b. Siapa saja yang dibunuh Komodo itu? Who all was killed by that Komodo dragon? Saja can also tag things for emphasis, such as in tentu saja, of course. Not only, but also. Bukan hanya X, tetapi juga Y. Example 3. Komodo itu tidak hanya makan wisatawan itu, tetapi juga anjingnya. The Komodo dragon ate not only the tourist, but also their dog. The only, satu-satunya. Example 4. Satu-satunya yang tersisa adalah topi yang bertuliskan saya cinta pulang Komodo. The only thing left was a cap that said I heart Komodo Island. By contrast to satu-satunya, salah satu or salah satunya means one of or one of them. Except for, kecuali. Kecuali means except for. Example 5. Kecuali topi yang bertuliskan saya cintai Pulau Komodo itu tidak ada lagi yang tersisa. Except for a cap that said I heart Komodo Island, nothing left was left. By contrast, selain means in addition to, and termasuk means including. Especially, terutama or khususnya. Example 6. Komodo berbahaya. Terutama induk Komodo. Komodo dragons are dangerous, especially mother Komodo dragons.